In this lesson, guys, we're going to be taking a look at the create statement. Now, the create statement can be used to create any objects in the database, but for this section, we're going to be creating tables only. So first, we have the create command. Then we specify the object that we want to create. So here we said create database. Now we want to create a table, so we are saying create table. You will then specify the name of the table and then specify the fields, the data type, whether you want your columns to be not null or null. You can also set the primary key when you're creating your table, as well as you can set a default value when you're creating your table. Now please keep in mind that these are not required, right? But that's just the general syntax. But a rule of thumb, whenever you're creating a table, please create your tables with primary keys. So I also want you to pay close attention to the brackets. We typically enclose the fields in brackets. So you have the create table, the name of the table, open bracket, the fields, and then close bracket. Also keep in mind that after each column, you have a comma except for the last one here. So now let's look at an example table, right, with a create statement. So this is a create statement for an orders table, and in this create table statement we have an order ID, which is an integer, and we want it to be not null. We have an order number, which is an integer, and we want it to be not null as well. We also have a primary key, which is order ID, so you can do your primary key just like this. Or you could have it in one statement. So you could do it like this, where you define the column type first, and then later on add it as a primary key. So let's go back to the first example. Here, everything was defined in one line. So both options works. And we also have a person ID. Now, when you look after that, we do not have another field, but we have a constraint. So we're saying constraint foreign key or the person, right? This is just allowing us to name the constraint, which is a foreign key, and it states the key, which is the foreign key. So it says this person here is the foreign key, right? So it is in brackets. And when you look in the second line, so let's put it in one line for simplicity. It says references person ID. So this would be another table called person, which has a primary key called person ID. So let's read over this constraint again. So it says constraint, the name of the constraint, foreign key. It specifies the foreign key and it tells which table it references. So this is how you create a connection between tables by using the foreign key constraint. Now what is a constraint really? They basically specify the rules for data in a table. So if you look at not null, this is also a constraint, right? And remember, a primary key cannot be null, and a foreign key can be null. So if you look at the person ID, we are not specifying any constraint like not null here. And if you look at the order number, it is saying not null. So you can't make an order without an order number. An order has to be associated with an order number. And remember, in one of our early examples, we had said that you could have an anonymous order. So there wouldn't be a customer or person who exists per se in the customer table to make that order. So that is why person ID can be null. Now, typically, when you are creating tables with relationships, you want to create the one that is the parent table and the one with the foreign key last. So let's say we're supposed to execute this statement to create a table. So here we get an error, foreign key, FK person order, references, and invalid table person. So it's trying to reference a person table that doesn't exist, right? So the database is smart like that. And these are the things that enforce referential integrity. Guys, and at any point you need assistance in this course, feel free to message me, right? So now let's start creating our tables. So the first one we're going to create is the car table. So first we have the create command, then you have table, which is a type of object that you want to create, and then you have the table name, or in other words, object name. Here we have chassis number with a data type of varchar. Now the reason why we are saying 17 is that the typical length of a chassis number is 17. And here we're setting it as the primary key. We also have the color. The typical length of a car color, let's say blue or red, is less than 10 characters, right? But you may never know. And we are saying it's not null. That means when we are inserting data in this table, the user must specify a color for the car. We also have model, and we are saying the same thing. We are saying we can accept the length of 10 characters. We don't want it to be null, so we have to specify not null. And we are doing the same thing for make as well. So to execute this statement, we can highlight and select execute. So to create the car table statement, highlight and select run. The table has been created successfully. Now let's create the customer table. So remember, the primary key in the customer table is the customer ID and it's of type integer. Now you may be wondering, why do I not specify not null for the primary key? Because once you specify a primary key, you don't have to explicitly specify not null. We can also specify not null explicitly, right? So if I execute this, it will still create the customer table. So the table was created. Another attribute to note is the date type. Here we are not saying not null or null. So by default, it will be accepting null values. So when we are inserting records or data in the customer table, we do not have to specify a date of birth. However, we have to specify a customer ID, a first name, and a last name, because all these three attributes do not accept null. You have to specify a value. Let's take a look back at our ER diagram again. I've made a slight adjustment to the ERD. I've removed the customer ID, which was here, and here I denoted that the date is a primary key, because the primary key from customer ID and the primary key from the car entity, which is the chassis number, are combined together with the date and the car rental relationship to make a composite primary key. So for the implementation, I will be calling this relationship rents. Now let's also take a brief look again at our relational notation for the composite key. So for the composite key car rental, it took the customer ID, the chassis number, and the date field to make the primary key for the car rental. So the customer ID is a foreign key and the chassis number is a foreign key. So now let's take a look at how we actually implement this in the database. So let's create our rents table. So first we need to define our attributes. So I'm going to add some space here to make this a little bit more readable for you. So first we need to define our attributes that will make the primary key. So we have the customer ID, the chassis number, and date rented. Now in this case, when we are creating a composite primary key, we cannot explicitly say primary key for each attribute, right? We have to create the attributes first, and then we say primary key, and then specify the attributes that we want to be a part of the primary key. So that's what we are doing in this line. Now remember that customer ID and chassis numbers are both foreign key. So we now need to add these as constraints to the table. So the first one is the customer ID constraint. Now the order doesn't matter, right? Whether you want to do chassis number first or customer, the order doesn't matter. However, we need to define the attributes first. So we're saying foreign key customer ID, which is this ID here, references customer, which is this ID here. And that's exactly what we're saying. And it's basically the same thing for the chassis number. We're saying constraint foreign key chassis number. So this is just the name for the foreign key. And we're saying this chassis number here is a foreign key. And what does it reference? It references the chassis number in the car table. So first you identify your foreign key, and then secondly, you identify the table and the key which it references. Now another important thing to note again, to maintain referential integrity, you have to keep the same data type. If it is not the same for the foreign keys, it will fail when you are creating the table. So let's look at the chassis number, right? The chassis number, we defined it as 16. So now let's try creating this table with 15 and see what happens. So let's execute. Here it says car number chassis number is not the same length or scale as the referencing column rents chassis number. So this time we're going to put the correct length and then we're going to change the data type to char. So let's execute again. And you can see it complains again. Chassis number is not the same data type as the referencing column rents chassis number in the foreign key and the name of the foreign key, right? So it has to be the exact same as the primary key. So now let's execute this again. Now let's hit run. And our table has been successfully created. Now over to your left under your database, if you're not seeing the tables, let's minimize this. If you're not seeing your database, again, let's minimize everything. It's under the databases folder. So first you want to refresh, right? Expand databases, and then you'll see your car rental database. Now to view these tables, we can then further expand the car rental database. What type of objects did we create? Tables. So we can expand the tables folder. And here we can see the 3 tables that we created. When you expand any of them, you'll see another set of folders. So what we're interested in is the columns and the keys. So when you expand columns, let's bring this across a little bit. You'll see the columns that we created. When we were creating the chassis number, we did not explicitly state not null for the primary key. So here you're seeing it is saying not null for the primary key. However, we did explicitly state it for the customer. So if we expand customer, you will see it saying not null as well. So once you're defining the primary key, you do not need to specify not null. When you expand the keys folder, you will see the key that was created. So it automatically generated a name for the primary key. Now let's look at the rented table, right? So let's expand keys. And here you can see that on the keys, it has the 2 foreign keys and it also has the primary key. In the next lecture, we'll be looking at the job statement.